everybody. Welcome back to our Advent series, Expectation. I am Pastor Colie Bettivia here once again with my sister, Allie. Today is day 21, and today we are talking about millennials. My sister and I both fall into the millennial generation, and many of you already know that I just this May graduated with a Doctor of Ministry degree, and my dissertation project was about millennials in the church. Millennials just basically are folks between the ages of about 24 and 39, 40-ish now. So we're not talking just young people in general, but people in their mid and upper 20s and through their 30s. And for a long time, people have been talking about millennials in the church, and mostly that millennials are absent from the church. And now the research shows that about 40% of millennials say that they have no religious affiliation. If you ask them what religion they are, they say nothing. And so my research in particular that I did was a little more focused on millennials who are in church, to find the millennials who are there and ask them why they're there and why they care about the church when it might be so easy for them to walk out. So that was my research. But what I've invited my sister here to talk together about is that there's a misunderstanding, an expectation that is wrong towards millennials often, that 40% of millennials who have no religion, that is because they are atheists, or maybe agnostic, that they either don't believe in God or, on the agnostic side, maybe are questioning whether God is real or not, or wondering about that sort of thing. But something that I found in my research was that very few millennials actually identify as atheist or agnostic, and a much larger number of them identify as what we might call apatheistic, or as I came to say, religiously apathetic. That it just doesn't enter into their everyday lives. It's not that they don't believe in God. It's not that they wonder whether or not God exists. It just isn't even a question for them. So, my sister is here because she falls into that category. Despite her love for Christmas, you might be surprised to know that she is pretty a-religious. Really just kind of doesn't care about church or faith or those things.
Yeah, I've had it even brought up to me when they find out that my sister's a pastor. What went wrong with me? At all religious.
So when people find out that your sister's a pastor and say that to you, what do you say in response?
So my first thought was like, why am I the one that's the weird one? Okay, why is it default to me? But I think it really surprises a lot of people because, you and I have had a lot of conversations about religion and, gone over what your sermon's going to be for that week. And so I think it really surprises a lot of people that even though I would say that, I don't have any religion, that I can, be respectful of other people who do. And that I've found a lot of times it's not necessarily respected back at me. I mean, plenty of people are. But yeah, the more outspoken ones, it's usually because it's not respected that I don't have one. I don't even say that I'm atheist because to me, it's sort of like I just picture sort of a flow chart and, it says like, are you religious? Yes, no. And if you follow yes, it would list the different kinds. But that's why I don't feel like I'm atheist because I would just follow that sort of no part. And then that to me is just the end of the question. There's nothing underneath it.
Well, and that atheism, I think, really sometimes assumes a religious belief still.
Exactly. Right? And that's why I was like, that's a big part of why I don't identify as that. And yeah, in its own way, it is a belief system. Even if it's not necessarily believing in God, it's still a belief system. And yeah, for me, that's why I don't identify that way because I just feel like I don't have any belief system at all.
Yeah. So, and part of what I think you and I are able to make work together is a little bit of this sense of like, this is me and who I am, and that's you and who you are, and I'll do me and you do you. Right?
Exactly. That's what surprises other people that I've talked to when I, have that sort of attitude, that they will tell me, I didn't at all expect for you to, to understand that I could do myself. And I was like, well, yeah, because I want you to respect how I do it. So I have no problems as long as, they're not trying to be forceful towards me about accepting their own religion. But yeah, I'm like, if that's what makes you happy, wonderful. I'm so happy that you found something that makes you that happy and that fulfilled.
Yeah. And for you, it's not part of your life either
Exactly.
way.
There's like, I can understand it to a point, and in some ways I kind of wish I was, because like I have seen people, like you, were so happy and fulfilled with it that I was like, wow, that seems like something that'd be really nice. But it's not something that I have in me, and it's not something that I can really force it myself into. And so, yeah, I've just sort of been like, well, that's just not something that's for me. And I don't know if I've mentioned it to you, but like, I can see the draw that there are some like churches that aren't religious churches, and I can understand it because of the community that's around the church. And I think I've put it to you that I'm like, I love the whole part of church except for the actual church portion. Like, I feel like I have very similar morals, to your church, and I grew up in it, so I agree with a lot of the same things. It's just the actual church portion that I'm like, I just don't have any feelings towards it.
Yeah, it's not a negative feeling.
Exactly.
It's just mm, mm, mm.
That face is, yeah, a very good summary.
Thank you, Allie, for being here with us, for helping us all understand a little bit more about maybe not even what it means to be a millennial, but what it means to be you, and how expectations people have might not always be true.
Exactly. Thank you again. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Awesome. Thanks, Al.